Well, Megan, it is, and just information updates aren't going to be enough to satisfy the folks who are out here, and they keep coming outside University Medical Center here in Tucson. You've got local, national, international media parked out here waiting for any bit of information that they can get. And you can see behind me as well this memorial that continues to grow with flags, flowers, candles, mementos, photos of Congresswoman Giffords, very well beloved by this community from people on all sides of the political spectrum. That's not even an issue here in Tucson. It's this small community joining together around this tragedy. The latest that we heard, as you've all heard, I'm sure, is that swelling on the brain. That's what they're concerned about. And so that piece of the skull was removed to alleviate that swelling. Now, over the next few days, that's what they've got to watch. But again, as you said, very optimistic that she's able to respond to those simple commands, and they're going to be monitoring her very closely over the foreseeable future. Megan.
Indeed, Dan, thank you so much. Well, we still don't know what triggered yesterday's tragic shootings in Arizona, what specifically, but we are learning more and more about the accused gunman. 22-year-old Jared Loughner is described by one investigator as mentally unstable, but some of the suspect's neighbors say they're shocked to learn that this tragedy struck so close to home.
It's all a big surprise to me, coming home to all this stuff. Never think it'd be in your own backyard, but there it is.
I Googled him on the internet, and some of the things he has on there is disturbing. Why didn't somebody notice him before and stop this?
Here to shed some light on what he can on this suspect is criminal profiler Alan Lipman. He is a criminal psychologist and executive director at the Center for the Study for Violence. Doctor, thank you so much for being back with us. We appreciate it. I want to ask you your thoughts. You know, in the wake of what we've learned over the past 24 hours about this suspect, your thoughts?
Well, first of all of our hearts as people go out to the victims and to the victims' families regarding this horrific tragedy. Now look, the key to understanding Jared Lee Loughner is not his political ideology, however incoherent. It is the delusional, disorganized, disruptive behavior which factually is indicative of a schizophrenic psychotic illness. I've seen these cases for 25 years, Megan, since Yale until now, and his internet postings, as that woman described, they are signals of psychotic illness. And let's take your viewers on a roadmap of understanding inside the mind of Jared Lee Loughner so they can really understand why he did this. Number one, the twisted language, these preoccupations with mind control, with the government listening in on him. These are classic symptoms of delusions, of persecution that we see in schizophrenia. If you walk the wards of a psychiatric hospital, you will see these on a daily basis. The twisted language, the neologisms, the coining of words, the if-then statements. This is called formal thought disorder. You could see this written in notepads throughout hospitals, this kind of thinking. As signs of a psychotic break, I have seen them in my daily work. His disruptive behavior at Pima College. This is the beginning. The disruptive behavior. Remember, these weren't crimes of opportunity. These were outbursts of behavior, losing control, the sign of a psychotic break. His friend, Caitlin, who witnessed his behavior over several years, said, as we just found out, that he showed a radical break in his late teens and early 20s. When is the prime time when a person shows their schizophrenic break? Late teens, early 20s. This is a psychotic individual, almost without question. The only caveat, of course, is I haven't seen him. But the symptoms, thanks to the ubiquity of the internet, are utterly clear. Do not look in these videos for a coherent political ideology. There is none. He is incoherent. This is a deteriorating, schizophrenic individual in the midst of a psychotic break. Now, I'm also a lawyer, Megan, so I want to be clear to your viewers. This is different than insanity. Insanity is a legal judgment, and he could conceivably have this mental illness without being found insane.
Right, the legal standard is very different. Let me ask you this, Dr. Lipman. What about his note to his friends on his MySpace page saying, "Goodbye, please don't be mad at me"? What does that tell you?
Well, I'll tell you what it tells me, that underneath every psychotic illness, be it schizophrenia, schizophreniform disorder, there's a variety of psychotic illnesses, all essentially the same in their psychosis. There is a lonely, alienated, isolated, disturbed, increasingly disappearing individual. You know, his friend again said he was becoming more odd, more unusual, strange thoughts, preoccupations with prophecy, with currency. As he became more psychotic, he became more isolated. The classic position.
I only have a minute left, but I want to get to this point.
This is the key.
How do you predict when someone like this is going to turn violent?
Well, I'll tell you what's very interesting about this, Megan. When he had these various disruptive behaviors at Pima to the point where they barred him from the school because he called the school illegal, clear psychosis, that was a sign, just like the signs at Virginia Tech with Cho, for intervention. This is a case in the United States, like Virginia Tech, not of political ideology run amok, but of undiagnosed mental illness, and that's when they should have stepped in.
So interesting to get your thoughts. Dr. Alan Lipman, thank you so much.